Yo, it's Eevee, and today we are going to be doing a power ranking of all 18 drafts that are in the newest drafts, starting with Pool 1, Pool 2, and I've got the one and only GOAT, Lotus Tuhu, with me today to co-host. Say hi.
Is it mean of me to say I'm really upset that he didn't give it any sort of clever name?
No, no, it's
Like, I know
not.
Damage did give his, but we could at least call those like Season 1, Season 2, Season 3.
Yeah, this
But,
shit's
like, come
just
on,
new
man.
draft.
Have some like, you know, pride in your work.
No,
I
no,
say as I literally just called my last one the Goobu draft.
no, that's a fire name. I don't know what you mean. Alright.
Okay, that one was entirely because the reason it happened was because Ello was the one asking for it.
Like, he also did name his... That guy's obsessed with the Goobu. I don't know why. But yeah,
You
so...
obviously have not gone into any of his streams.
You're right, I actually haven't. That's my bad. So, we'll be talking... I'm sorry, a quick disclaimer before we start. When we talk about these drafts, this is solely about the draft quality itself and about the bonds that are in. We're not going to be taking into account players at all when talking about these drafts. A good player can win with a bad draft, and a good draft can still fail if the player isn't good, right? So we can't really take that into account. I'll also be putting these on like a tier list from F to S, obviously F being terrible draft, S being really good draft. Again, you can win with a bad draft, you can lose with a good draft, making that really clear. This is not meant to insult anybody.
I don't remember what my the first one I hosted, Lotus Land League draft was, but I know it was a theme one, and I did not have very good puppets, and I still got like into the playoffs in like second round or whatever.
Yeah.
I've
I
had a very consistent run the last three drafts I've been in of second round playoffs, and then I'm eliminated.
Yeah, I mean, that's still like a pretty good run, though. There are some monsters consistently in every single draft. I mean, hey,
I will stand by the fact I would have gotten finals in draft 4 if it was not for the fact that I had to forfeit because no internet.
yeah, you actually would have, like, quit that little history lesson. Me and Lotus were supposed to fight each other in one of the previous drafts, and his internet went out, and we compared what we would have brought to the draft, and we both came to the conclusion that he would have shit on me. It
That
was
wasn't
bad.
internet went out. That draft was happening right around the time I was graduating college, or not graduating college. It was around the time I was moving out of my original apartment, which I was living in for college, into one much closer to work, and we could not get a time scheduled where I would actually have had internet set up at my apartment. So it was mostly my fault as to why we could schedule, so I took the L there. But
No, I actually just think you're a coward. Next. All right.
okay, no, I just
Yeah.
I was absolutely. I will admit, I was very terrified of fighting that bullshit you brought again.
Well,
Which we'll get to that
we'll get to
later
that.
because
We'll get to that.
he's running it back with the bullshit.
Yep, that I am. Alright, first draft, we've got the Greasy Goblins. So, this is... Oh, I'm sorry, let me get my notes real quick. I'm so irresponsible. Alright, yeah. So, this is a bulky offense draft, coached by a Wower, P. Mamizo, Ihikeisha, Iyachi, D. Chamada, AKK D. Story, P. Amelia, D. Parsi, A. Lunasa, D. Okina, Ikutaka, S. Wakasagi. So, I think the first thing that comes to mind when looking at this is that he troll picks 6 times in a row, and then decides to grab Iwaka as the final pick. What did he mean by this?
I I cannot say this is a bad draft, simply for the fact that he has extra Hikesha and extra Yachie.
That is true. They are really scary mons.
I personally do think assist Keiki is fairly serviceable at 12 points. I do
Yeah.
think in future drafts, I do want to uh, take another look at Defense Shimada because, I mean, she does seem pretty good on paper, but I've heard a lot of she's kind of mid and 17 might be a bit too high.
17 is probably too high, but I honestly think if she were like a 16 or 15 cost, she'd probably be pretty good. Like,
She's
Glamorous
still pretty
is
good, yeah.
Glamorous is very good. Light Steel, I mean, Steel kind of holds her back defensively a bit, but like Light is a really good defensive type, in my opinion. I know people do not agree with me on that. Um,
Um, Defensatori is a solid puppet if it had first aid. It doesn't.
Yeah,
But
I think...
Whitewood has used Defensatori before. I recall it was in draft 3, I think, and he got some pretty good use out of her.
I don't know.
I'm not going to say that's a really bad pick, but it's not something that's going to instill fear. She has Decrescendo, which is just a really good tool.
It is. It's just, I don't know. 10 feels like a robbery, you know?
He did troll pick 4 in a row at least, though.
Yeah.
I would say 5. Extra Kutaka makes me sad.
Yeah,
I look at it. I really fucking like that thing. It feels unusable without her.
Yeah, and like maybe it feels like a 6 cost, but...
I feel like maybe has some use with some of the tools she gets, even if she doesn't have the recovery. Extra Kutaka is complete dog water without Perch.
Yeah, however, I will say it does do one thing that I do like in this draft, and it is a sound answer, because if you look at like the mons that he's going to be consistently bringing, like P Mamizo is coming to most drafts, Ihikeisha is going to most drafts, most matches, sorry. Iyachi is going to most matches. His only good sound answer is Dichimata. I don't like that. This is at least an immunity, which is something.
Yeah, I think he'll definitely be able to get use out of it. I've seen him get use out of, kind of more middle of the pack things, but
yeah, it's just...
I just always get sad looking at that.
Yeah, like it clicks, rocks, and then it pivots, and if it doesn't pivot, it just dies.
it does have a very, very nice niche if you really hate Baruto, in that it is the perfect counter to extra Yumeko.
True. S tier mon, in my opinion.
Fighting immune, sound immune, and resists the wind, and hits back with electric. And it's spread bulk too already.
Yeah, yeah. I also, another thing that I am not a fan of in this draft is that there are no poison types, so he cannot eat T-spikes, and I think that's a bit bad. I think at least he has Dichimata as an answer, and that's also Spinner, which is good.
Dichimata who can help.
But
yeah, not being able to have too much for spikes is kind of a problem, because that does literally kill Extra Taka's one form of recovery, in that she can run auto heal leftovers.
Yeah.
You're sacrificing Sound Absorb for that, but if you in a matchup you don't think you really, really need the Sound Absorb for, it's another option.
Yeah, it's not bad. You can put like Protect on that shit, and it's healing like 1/4 HP every 2 turns. That's not bad, right? But overall, it's an okay draft. I think I would put it in C tier. I think there are too many mons that just don't do that much for the game plan. Like, D Parsi is not doing anything, P Remili is not doing... Like, there's so many things that if they were just replaced with something that did something, the draft would be better. But...
Again, this is just my personal opinion with stuff. I really don't think I could put it below B, because I think Hikeisha and Yachier together literally just put it there flatline.
That's fair.
Yachier is such a dumbass design.
It is so stupid. By the way, it's a 17 cost and not an 18 cost. That needs to be fixed.
Yeah. And I say this as a guy who is constantly pushed to give something with another type with precise aim stock and murder. That is dumb fucking design in Yachier.
No, it's a really strong mon. It's a really strong mon.
There's not that much that really walls it. Like, yeah, you have your Hina, but this is a draft. You're
this is not Hina. Yeah.
2 Hinas max in your entire time here.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.
Maybe 3.
I guess.
If you're really unlucky and get a rematch.
Yeah. If playoffs fall really unfavorably, but like literally one fucking imposing air, and that thing will wipe most rosters.
Yeah.
It is just horribly crazy.
Yeah, I just think that this draft really does rely on its top-end mons to get things done. And if they can't get things done, then I think the draft just flounders and does nothing.
Yeah, so I guess my opinion is I'd put this in B because, as like a baseline, because of those two. I cannot justify higher because of his troll picks.
Yeah. That's where I'm going to. I'll still keep mine in C, but we can like... I like how you said I'm not going to tier things, but maybe we'll keep a separate track of our tiers. We'll see.
I don't. Do you actually have like a list going? If you can stream it.
I actually don't have a list. I'm bad at image editing, so
Alright.
Yeah. Oh, I can keep track of yours, though. Alright, next up, we've got Aliens Crowd, coached by Ruby. Hyper Offense draft that has, well, I say Hyper Offense because this doesn't fit into anything else.
Shit, Hyper Offense.
But what else is it? Literally, what is this, man? Tell me what this is.
Applies speed. He has 1 speed.
Where is his bulk?
2.
Where is his anything, actually? Power Nue, Power Merlin.
Wait, no. He has some bulky pieces. They're more bulky offense pieces. He doesn't really have a dedicated wall outside of, like, the Yuma.
You know...
I cannot call this hyper offense in good faith.
I cannot call this anything in good faith.
An extra Yuko.
You know what I think? This team has only 1 Mon with healing. It has 1 Mon, and that is Power Patchouli. That makes me so sad.
Power Kaguya does have healing power. That's something.
Oh, let's go. Healing power. This draft is saved. Yeah, this is bad.
This is... Ruby was going full Ruby, and then he, like... he went into a fugue state and realized, wait, I need to have other things, too.
I can respect the hustle for using your favorites, but it doesn't constitute to something very cohesive. One of the worst things is this Earth weakness. Yeah. Like, dude, what do you do if they have a good Earth type? Like, actually, what do you do? You bring extra Yuko?
You make them really afraid of the Earth move with extra Yuko, and you have the Merlin, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know about this one.
Ruby was going for the Ruby draft, but a lot of the things that can make the Ruby draft actually kind of work were already sniped. Like the fast rat and the good Patrolli.
Oh, wait. Was he really going to try and draft triple Patrolli? Damn.
I don't know. Probably he likes Patrolli, but...
Yeah, fair enough.
So, he has a lot of staples. Speed Nazrin's 1, Defense Nazrin's 1, which I was kind of surprised he didn't end up going, because that would be another defensive piece. Yes, it's another Earth weakness, but...
It would at least do something something he could switch into consistently, which...
Like,
he doesn't have
there's
those,
parts of this I like. I guess the picks I think I like the least out of this are the Power Medicine, because I don't think that really does much when you have the Defense Yuma on the team.
Yeah.
And I don't think I can really get behind the 2 Kaguyas. I would have rather a Defense Kaguya here than either of the other ones, because that's some additional bulk. Which
that's
kind of... It does kind of overlap with the really spread-heavy Power Patrolli, but it's something with recovery and whatnot.
This draft in general was like super spread heavy, which I'm not sure I like. Especially when we take a look at some of the other drafts in this division, there's some really good spread walls, and I don't know what his plan is going to be for some of them.
Yeah, he also took the Power Rumia without the accompanying piece that he had in the previous draft he played in of the extra Okina. Now that's a really funny combination that he pulled off.
It's so skull emoji, but I haven't used it, so I won't judge.
I'm not going to say it's good. It is a matchup fish. It is you go for the Okina season that gives you Fog and Byakko, and then suddenly you're a monster.
It's so funny, man. Another thing that I'm not a big fan of is that this draft really needs items in order to get its bulk. It needs hairpins, it needs leftovers. Even you can throw like Absorber on like the P Kaguya or something. So this team is very susceptible to getting knocked off, and I think that's going to be a real killer for this draft.
The big problem is he doesn't. I guess I don't really see something where it's a really good thing to hide the Nue behind.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
Kaguya. I think the Power Kaguya is probably the best because you're dissuading any illusion hits. Maybe the extra Yuyuko, like, it's the extra Yuyuko, I guess, because that resists illusion and is immune to Earth.
Yeah, and it's also
so
fast.
Dissuading, like, the
well, decently fast.
It dissuades the sound moves as well.
Yeah,
but,
and the opponent could get scared of getting outsped by a 65 base speed mon, right? 50, sorry.
If Ruby was in Pool 2, I'd be I guess. I mean, this is kind of going away from the. I guess is going away from the roster, but I guess just in terms of a coaching thing, not affecting his tiering at all. If this was in Pool 2, I'd have a bit more faith in him getting some more wins. But he is up against the powerhouses of this community.
Yeah. And that's not to say there are no good players in Pool 1 or anything like that. I think that's ridiculous. I think there's potential in Pool 1, but Pool 2, sorry.
Pool 1,
but Pool 1 has...
I think is going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a lot more interested into what happens in Pool 2 than Pool 1.
Yeah.
Because Pool 1, we've seen this story a bunch.
Yeah, Pool 1 has, like, all the proven players in it. Well, most of them, right? So... Like, we know roughly how this is going to play out, and I think since a lot of those players are really scary, this draft... And again, that's a bit meta, like Lotus said, but this draft is going to struggle much more in Pool 1 than it would in Pool 2.
Of the 10 players in Pool 1, only 3 of them have not played in a playoff match in any of the drafts.
Wow, really? Which are they?
It is KK... Uwu and accelat. Everyone else in this has played a playoff. Ruby got in draft 1, so it was very much at like the figuring things out, but he was one of the playoff teams in that one. And then Jolly, Kalt, they've all made playoffs in more recent drafts.
Yeah, overall...
Recent is kind of relative because that's like 3 years ago.
Yeah, well... I mean, we don't get these very often, so recent is a bit relative, but yeah. Overall, I cannot in good faith give this anything but F tier. I'm sorry, Ruby, but this is not good.
I can agree with that. I'm hoping for the best, Ruby. You'll get them.
Yeah. Good luck, man. You really need it. Holy shit. Okay, now, on the absolute opposite of the spectrum, we have the Susanon Suzerains, coached by Doesnt. This is a Doesnt draft. I would call this balanced, probably. There's a lot of really bulky shit. There's also a lot of really good offensive pieces, though. Like, this has some shockingly good speed tiers. What I really like is that there's so many fast defensive pieces. Amelia's really fast, D-Ron's really fast, Isuzu's pretty fast. S Megumu could even go defensive if you want her to. It's a pretty good set, honestly. Like, this has some real monsters.
There is a reason I bumped S Megumu up 2 points.
Yeah, it's a crazy mon that everybody sleeps on. I don't know why.
It doesn't have the best offensive typing, but it is literally the only, like, I think the only it might also be P-Rin that basically gets physical quiver dance.
Yeah, because I can use dark power.
Dark power and then end of turn speed up. It's not exactly, but it's
close enough.
The closest we have in this.
Yeah. And obviously he's also got extra Lyrica. No need to explain that. I also really like that he has so much pivoting on his team. Like, this is such a flexible team. And the low costs the low costs are also extremely efficient. We already talked about S Megumu. Kongura is like a shockingly good defensive piece. She can run inverse reaction or air cushion. They're both great abilities.
Kongura is a very, very solid low cost that Doesnt has shown time and time again. It is pretty much a staple of Doesnt drafts at this point.
Yeah.
I like the assist ACU for the matchup hell for people.
Yeah, because
assist ACU really doesn't do much on her own, but you don't want to be the guy who gets caught not being able to handle it.
Yeah, that's the like really insidious thing about her. I think 9 times out of 10 actually bringing her is trolling because she's not good, but she forces the opponent to run suboptimal things because what if she does show up? And I think that is something that is never talked about. But like that, she is defined by her influence on team building rather than actually in the game.
And I guess just taking a look at this draft, another like just kind of small thought with this, he doesn't really have another thing that really requires Tengu Geta.
Yeah.
And that makes the assist ACU a lot more dangerous to think about because it's not like oh, well, I don't want to bring her here because I can't just slot on the thing that takes away half the ability to kill her.
Yeah, like, because, like, realistically, you're putting it on, like, the Saki, if she really needs to come in and out a bunch of times, the Megumu maybe, but, like, it's not like they're even, like, that much worse if they don't have it. Or even the Kagasa, that's another, like, really efficient low cost, because she can be a win condition if you really want her to, but she can also just be a really solid defensive piece, because she's got pivoting, she's got double Tim.
Really
like,
good defensive typing.
Yeah. Like, I think the fact that she's 6 is kind of a crime. She should be a 7 or 8, but...
Possibly. That might be... There's a lot of puppets that I do kind of want to reevaluate and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm never going to sleep on a Water Winds type used defensively. I know draft 4, I think it was, I picked up Power Toyohime on a whim, and I feel like there were a lot of fights that I had way more use out of that thing than I did the extra Toyo I also had.
That's insane.
Like, that thing doesn't even have that many tools. It's just fat as fuck, has a good defensive typing, and you have to respect it because it hits like a goddamn freight train.
Yeah, it does. Another thing that I want to draw attention to, because I see this as a talking point, particularly among newer players, and that is weakness stacking in drafts, and how it's not always a bad thing, because if you actually take a look at Delson's draft, he stacked a lot of sound weaknesses and a lot of warped weaknesses, but it doesn't actually matter that much in this draft, because if you actually take a look at his defensive pieces, like, let's take warped as an example, 5 weaknesses to warped, only 3 resists. That's pretty bad, right? But, like, he's got D. Kawakama and Iramelia to cover warped very solidly, and it's not like he's going to be stacking all 5 of those warped weaknesses in every single match. That's obviously stupid. He has no reason to do that. So it looks bad on paper, but then you actually stop and think about it for a moment and realize the warp weakness, it doesn't matter. Same thing with sound weakness. So just because you stack a lot of weaknesses, that doesn't instantly mean that the draft is bad.
Yeah, you just want to make sure that for the weaknesses you have the answer.
Yeah.
Like, if your answer for your warp weakness is some middling bulk offensive pieces.
Yeah, Iran or some shit. That's bad. Yeah.
I think Iran could kind of do it because she has the stats. It's just you can't be a physical hit.
Yeah.
You take.
Yeah. Yeah. Overall,
I don't think Iran is actually that bad of a puppet.
No, I don't either. That's just what came to mind as, like, some middle-of-the-road Bulkmon that doesn't really want to come in a bunch and take free hits for no reason.
To go back to the previous one, it is extra Yuyuko as your sound answer.
Yeah, yeah. Like, that's bad. You don't want that to be your only answer.
Not going to take that many sound hits from something fairly strong. And while that is not Ruby's only answer, it's
one of his main ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's mostly for like sound specifically, he'd mostly be relying on the power Kaguya, but it's like it's the same logic. It's like that thing's kind of got, middling bulk. You don't want that as your answer. Now, I guess there is a lot of nuance in draft because you don't want that as your main answer. But if you see a calc that's really favorable for you and you can pull off the funny, then it could be really good.
Yeah, you gotta go for it.
For instance, Silver Pin Extra Megamoo.
This is probably referencing something that I don't get, but I'm going to assume it's a very funny calc.
It was I think the real reason I went for that one is no special attack invest Extra Megamoo with Silver Pin lives one hit from an extra Wakasagi and it 2-hit KOs with the poison sign. So if I'm on the field at the same time as the Waka, I can hit it on the turn it Genbus and then survive and kill it the next turn.
Oh, yeah, sometimes like Lotus said, draft has nuance. Sometimes there will be situations where all you need to take is one hit, and if you can take that one hit, then you basically win. So
it also really came in useful because that situation did not happen, but what did happen was taking a wind move from a power show. that I'm pretty sure I lived without, but I lived better because I had the silver pin.
Yeah. Yeah. Overall, this might be crazy, but I think this is an S tier draft. This is really, really, really good. I cannot see
drafts
it.
are usually really solid. It's I would definitely agree. Like I don't have much of an argument against an S tier for this one. It's really solid in that he gets a lot of value even at the lower costs. He's not just stacking a bunch of 18s and calling it good.
Yeah, yeah. And that's actually... This may as well be a discussion that we have right now, because it'll come up eventually, and that's drafting wide versus narrow. Some people argue one way for... I should actually define that. When you draft wide, that's when you're getting, like, 11 or 12 mons, and when you're narrow, that's, like, 9. Some people argue that 10 is narrow, some don't, but it doesn't really matter. But usually the defining point of narrow drafts is that you have, like, 4 or 5 really high costs, and then you put a bunch of shitters in as your remaining mons just to get up to 9. My personal opinion, and this is an opinion, there are a lot of people who disagree with me on this. My personal opinion is that drafting wide is almost always better because it gives you more tools, especially if you can find low costs that do a lot of things for you, like Assist Kagasa or Extra Kangara.
I tend to draft wide myself because of the reasons you say. I think there is arguments for drafting narrow.
Yes, and you can definitely make good narrow drafts. I'm not saying you can't.
The thing with that is the pieces you would really want in a narrow draft are the ones most likely to get sniped.
Yes. Obviously, if that does happen, it's not the end of the world. In some ways, in the drafting process itself, a narrow draft is better, because if something that you want gets sniped, you can start pivoting into a wide draft. If you start with a wide draft, you kind of commit to it, because you cannot suddenly go narrow, because all the good shit will already be taken by, like, round 5.
And if something you planned gets sniped, you have to kind of panic and figure out a new plan.
Yes.
Okay, well, how do I replace this thing that was kind of pivotal? Its role was pretty pivotal.
Yes. Wide drafts are much weaker to snipes than narrow drafts are, for the reason that Lotus just said. So, yeah, it is a preference thing. I always draft wide, but there are a lot of real arguments for narrow drafts, and we will see some good narrow drafts today.
Yeah, to, I guess, bring in a little bit of a sports analogy and, like, the kind of basketball, hockey, possibly even, European football world is, I guess, the idea of going into having a team with, like, you have 1 or 2 superstars and a lot of really solid depth versus a team where your, like, starting minutes are, 4 really high-end talent players, but then once they're exhausted, you bring out some guys you picked up off the street. Like, if you get a really favorable matchup with the 4 superstars, you can build an insane lead. But the second they're out and your shitters are in and they have their solid depth pieces in, the match kind of swings.
Yeah.
The favorability swings. And it's a lot more volatile in something like a draft where you're not playing, a full 60 minutes and you have to take some people out in and out and whatnot. So if you can just overpower people, well, hey, you've got a good narrow draft.
Yeah.
But if you find something you can't overpower, you're
in a lot of trouble. Yeah.
You're fucked.
Yeah, especially because in this format, I'm sure there are drafts leagues that do it differently, but in this format, you cannot free agent past the midpoint of the draft, so you're stuck with whatever you have, so you cannot tech for future matchups. So if something's bad, you just have to eat the bad matchup. But yeah, overall, it is preference. Narrow drafts are stronger, but they're less flexible. Wide drafts are weaker, typically, but they're much more flexible. It is a preference thing, mainly. With that, let's move on to Maganaut line, coached by Kyusen. This is definitely...
Maganaut?
Am I stupid? Is that not how it's... Is it?
It's the Maginot line.
Maginot? Oh no, I'm sorry. I don't know. Listen, I don't know my World War II. Sorry. Listen, I'm not stupid, okay? I swear I'm not stupid. Anyways,
I don't believe you.
no, you gotta believe me. Anyways, I think out of all the drafts that Kyusen's done, okay, it's not his fault, but this is definitely the weakest. And I say it's not his fault because he obviously got sniped a bunch, like intentionally.
Yeah, he's missing some of his staples. Well, at least one major staple in the Suwako.
Yeah. He's missing the
He
Moko as well.
play by taking extra Shinki over extra Sumireko, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, the extra Shinki take is just way better.
Yeah. I agree. Extra Shinki, criminally underpriced at 15. She should be 17.
I thought I had her at 17, but maybe that was supposed to be a post Gubu thing, and I just never got around to putting it in.
I think that might have been a post Gubu thing. Anyways,
yeah.
I
like the extra Tojiko pick.
I actually don't like it.
It is very much into Q's pivot all the time playstyle.
Yeah,
but in a different way than his stupid buckets.
My thing about the Tojiko that I really don't like is that it contributes to his poison and fighting weaknesses. And he does not have a good answer for either of them. He has Hina, and that's
sitting
it.
On extra Hina.
No, but that's the thing. Hina has to carry his entire poison and fighting weakness. So if they have something that can beat extra Hina, then he's just cooked. Like, they just start clicking buttons.
Fair. But then you also have to remember that it's Kyusen, and depending on the poison type, one of his buckets is a poison answer. Sakuya is a poison immunity, and he can play around that. Mamizo is a fighting answer. I guess this is more going into the coach of Kyusen knows how to play. Like, I get in just a base roster. I guess I'm less worried in a base roster of the fighting than I am the poison.
Yeah, because it has to be the Sakuya. And the Mamizo at least can take hits if you, like, mispredict and get hit by something that isn't a fighting move. If the Sakuya gets hit by something that is not poison, it gets knocked down to below half. Like...
But yeah, the Mamizo is a resist for fighting. The Hina's a resist for fighting. The Cherno's a resist for, like, everything.
Yeah. Except for poison, because it contributes to that. He has some really good defensive profiles. Like, if you're trying to use, like, one of the elementals, right, like water or fire or anything, you're cooked, right? But there are also some other... Oh, this is actually so unforgivable. Sound. If you have a sound mod, you click buttons.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that part. Yeah.
Yeah, he does not have much in the way of sound. I was going to say Nether's also one I'm looking at that he doesn't have any major weaknesses.
He has no resist either. I think that's a huge mistake.
No resist.
I always...
This is one where if you get like a good Nether sound type that can get like a setup off, he's kind of in danger.
Yeah. You don't have a good way to wall it. Like, yeah, you can like pump up the Kisumes with lots of stats and start walling, but that only goes so far. And if one of them decides to tech mixed, like, I know it's always a meme, Kyusen's like, oh my god, mixed destroys his draft. But genuinely, if he faces a good mixed attacker, he
faces something with an actual alternate attack stat that is teched into one and sets up in one, and then he has the bucket for that one, and he can get memed.
Yeah. It's a very scary draft. This is very much a feast or famine draft. There will be some teams that he walls forever.
You know, just on paper, his draft is completely fucked by Speed Saki.
Yeah, it is.
Like, maybe the Hina can live, and the Tojiko, if it comes out, I think is faster. But like, he's kind of relying on the Shinki for that.
Yeah.
Because it's a neutral wall that can kill back.
Yeah. And obviously, it's a balanced draft, so the offenses aren't that important. But, like, it really is just the Shinki and Sakuya playing for offense. Maybe the Tojiko, if he decides to make that offensive. Yeah.
He does have the defense Kosuzu, which does have priority Oko moves.
Yes. yeah, it does.
And, you know, this is Kyusen, so that's probably what he's banking on, is just one-hit KOing the opponent with a burn.
Yeah. Kosuzu, I actually think is a bit of an underrated mon. I've used her in the past in drafts to pretty good
I've used
success.
her.
She
really
does
funny.
things. Yeah.
She is perfectly capable if you use her right. I don't remember too much what defense Akyu does, and that might just be more of a flavor pick here, but
the biggest thing that I've used her for, and this is definitely more of a hyper offense thing. I don't know what she does in this context. But in the context of hyper offense, she sets up prio screens and she has prio recovery. That's pretty good. And that's probably what he's fishing for here, the recovery.
Screens would help with some of his type weaknesses because he just has the big stats.
Yeah, he could just bring like one bucket and then a screen for the other defense and he's probably good.
Yeah. I think just on the grounds of Cherno and Hina being here, I'd put Kyusen in B. I don't really want to put him higher because he has his kind of glaring weaknesses, but
yeah,
on a roster, I think I'd put him at B. I could see an argument for C, but I don't like putting a draft with Cherno and Hina and actual depth around them.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think it's tough. I'm hovering between B and C. I just think that there are too many things that will tear this team apart. Like, this is a defensive team that lacks resists for, like, two of the most important types to have resists to. That's a bad look, in my opinion.
I will say, actually, he does not have a switch-in poison trap clearer.
Yeah, he doesn't. I have that in my notes, forgot to mention it. Yeah. He could run, like, Reflect Guard, I guess, but that's obviously meme.
I have, like, not been using... Oh, yeah, no, my Kyusen notes are nothing.
Yeah.
I have 3 buckets Kyusening, and then a comment about my parlay, which I already made.
Yeah, I think I'll put this in C tier, just because when you compare this to all of the other Kyusen drafts, this is by far the weakest, in my opinion.
I can get that. Which is a very funny thing to say when he has Cherno and Hina on it.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Kyusen, who, in the past, just has Cherno and Lyrica, which is, I think, just better.
Yeah, I agree. And another thing, I forgot to mention this earlier, but this Hina, I think, doesn't get to take advantage of her good offenses in this draft, because she has to spec into defensive builds most of the time, because she needs to answer those poisons and fightings, and she can't do that if she's specking offensive. I mean, she can, but, like, not consistently, right? She needs to be clicking Protect to get Jar off, she needs to Drain Seed, like, she needs to do a lot, and she cannot afford to go, like, 64 attack red mark, right?
You know, this is the most power tenchiable Kyusen draft I've seen, and nobody drafted her.
Power Tenchi's slept on. Nobody ever drafts her.
I have used her. This is the most power tenchiable Kyusen draft I've seen. She is if memory serves me correct, she is like a 2-hit KO on Cherno, because she gets good sound moves and ignores known limits.
Oh, right, yeah. She does do that. Yeah, okay,
she kills Hina. She has the sound move for the Mamizo. The only thing she's really missing is the alternate attack stat for the bucket, but the bucket with the good defense stat for her is fire type.
Yeah. I see the vision, yeah.
She hits the Tojiko, she hits the Sakia, and she hits the weaker defense stat on the Shinki.
Okay, guys.
Or Shinki spread.
Guys, if any of you are in Draft 1 right now, you have the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever right now.
Our Tenchi is good, people. Use her.
Please use her, she's good. This will not be the last time we tell you to use a good Mon. Well, not the last time I will, anyways. Next up, we have Let's Go Gambling, coached by KK.
Okay, my first thought here is, I don't see a single Daredevil or Brutality Puppet on this roster, so he's a fraud.
This is just like... Okay, it's tough, because this is definitely leaning more towards, like, bulky offense instead of just hyper offense. I don't get the Iaku or the Akoa. They're definitely, like, big hyper offense picks, and I don't think that their talents can be used to their full effect here.
I like the Akoa pick here because Speed Sane is not the fastest thing in the world. I wish he would have gotten at least one more offensive piece that really likes the bind trap.
Yeah.
Because Speed Mayumi on her own is just already fast.
Yeah, she doesn't need the help. What you're using Koa for is the Sanae specifically.
Yeah, and I don't think that's bad because it makes that Speed Sanae a lot more dangerous if you can't just outspeed and kill it.
Yeah. I think...
The Aku, I think, is a little bit weirder because he doesn't... It is like the hyper offense puppet, and he doesn't really have a lot of the archetype of hyper offense.
Yeah, I can kind of see the logic because you could put Sanae and Aku on the same team. You click the funny button on Aku and then Sanae wins the game from there. So I kind of see the logic, but I'm not sure I totally agree with it. At least she's only 3-drop, so it's not that big of a trope.
I like the Luna pick as, well, picking the Sanae so that you can then, you know, don't have to ever worry about running into a Sanae for your extra Luna to wall win types.
Yeah. And I think Luna and the Origami also complement each other pretty well.
And they complement... Well, the Origami, I think, is also complemented fairly well by the Ringo. Yeah, because the Origami is dark immune, so they complement each other really well, actually.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's a big thing. I think I had it initially, but I didn't care too much for Origami. She felt like an excess pick on mine of the Toyohime Origami combination, but... Yeah, because one of them also deals with dark, the fire nether light nature is a very good defensive core.
Yeah. Nether in general, I don't want to go on a whole rant about how Nether is actually good because everybody's heard that already. But like genuinely here, the Nether helps out the Origami a lot in this context.
I'm not sure I like the lack of a poison type pick because poison, at least one poison type, is always a nice thing to have.
He has Ite.
Oh right, he has Ite. Why did I completely forget that? That was a poison type. Yeah,
very good.
No, yeah, so he has the Ite. No, this is solid then.
Yeah, it's a pretty good a pretty good draft. Yeah.
He's got a fairly solid defensive core. He's got two good offensive pieces, and he's got some other like defensive depth around it.
Yeah. I think my biggest thing is that his offense, I feel, relies a bit too much on the Mayumi and the Sanae. I know that's more of a nitpick than like a real criticism, but I think it's a bit bad for the Mayumi because that's his only form of like consistent physical damage, unless you want to do something really weird like Strenuous Stance D Ringo or Skilled Hand D Luna or some other weird shit.
D Luna can do damage.
Yeah, she's got like 95 base attack.
She's got a okay attack stat.
Yeah, 95 is usable.
Yeah, I'm not. I guess this is almost a case where I think the Narrow might have been a little better, and instead of an Iichi or an Iaku, you pick a really solid 6 cost.
I agree.
That's more of like another like offensive piece, maybe a little bit faster, so that you can take advantage of the Quack. Like if you get like I guess I haven't looked too hard at the draft board, but something like a 90 speed physical piece. What even is available at 6 cost here?
I actually think the Koa could have been cut too. Replace her for like Assist Tay, something that's a bit cheaper but still does Bind Trap, because that's really what you're using her for. I don't think the Magic Bounce. It's good, obviously, but the team doesn't care if it doesn't have the Magic Bounce, right?
They do like. Doesn't Assist Koa have like Firewall on her? I mean, I know Yori has it, but
she's got Firewall and she's got Willow. Those are like
bad.
The main ones, and Changeling, but Tay has that too.
What do you really want here? She's already got Fighting kind of Wind and Earth handled. What's available in the 6 cost? That's a bit too fast. I see the speed gain gets you there, but that's a bit on the fast end.
I was about to mention that, but yeah, she doesn't like benefit too much from the Bind Trap. Although I do like stacking 130 speeds. I think it's very potent in draft.
Lots of speed. You know. What? He's already got the wind. Yeah. Look at that later.
Yeah, there's probably something.
Yeah, I guess I would have liked using your last couple points on a more solid, higher cost.
Yeah. Although I don't hate extra Ichirin, because she is, at the very least, like, she does good damage with Aquasonic, right? And Bind Trap isn't the worst with, I mean, she's only 45 speed, but you could outspeed some things at -1, you know what I mean? Like, it's not the worst.
Yeah, there's some, like, more defensive pieces that she could maybe get the jump on that she might not be able to afford. I just hope he doesn't fall into the same pitfall of slap specs on her and call it good.
Yeah, she can do much more than just specs, even though it is probably her best set. There are other things she can do.
Yeah, but, you know, half this fucking community never thinks about that.
True.
I really need to pick her in draft once and, like, actually just use her.
As a real mon, yeah.
Throw a fucking hairpin on this thing. Like,
yeah.
I feel like you get so much value out of not being locked into fucking Aqua Jets on her.
Guys, 110, 80, 80 bulk is good. This could be a hairpin mon. Yeah, overall...
It really has... It is like the quintessential hairpin mon because it doesn't have much in the way of support moves that it wants to use.
Yeah, what is it gonna click, right?
I think it might get like Willow or something, and that's about it. Or Thermit, probably.
Yeah. Overall, I think this is like a high B tier, low A tier draft. It's very solid.
That's what I was gonna say. I think I could put high B tier if he didn't go the 2/3 cost and went for a more solid and committed to the narrow. I would probably put this one in A.
Yeah. I'm also in that.
Like, or like camp. Definitive, put that one in A. Like, I think there's the argument that could be made for it now, but if he committed to the narrow, got like a single really solid piece to go around with it.
Yeah,
So,
and
like you said, even if you drop Kawakuma for like Tay, that gives you some more points to go a little higher and get something else really solid.
Yeah, like we say B, it's still week 0. You could definitely optimize this a bit more, make this a solid A tier team.
Oh yeah,
there's room for improvement here for sure. Next up, we have the best name of all time, the Koichi Komeiji Shrimp Fry team.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah. I mean...
Okay, I like this draft.
Yeah. This is hyper offense, no?
Kinda. I mean, they have the fast hyper offense pieces.
Yeah.
Does extra Aya get stealth trap?
No, she does not. That's actually probably... One of my only complaints about this draft, its only form of hazard is Poison Trap with Iyamame. I don't like that very much.
Yeah, they've very much committed to the offense, and their defensive core is extra Yamame, and I guess they have extra Aya. Extra Aya is pretty good.
Yeah, D-Letty. Like, these key pieces, they work well together. They're not going to stick, but they don't need to stick, is the thing. You're gonna kill with this.
Yeah. Yeah, now that I actually take another look, it's a pretty good, it's an alright, defensive core, and, I mean, he's got Power Kagara, which on its own is really strong.
Yeah.
And Speedrun and Extra Kokoro are both very good pieces. He's got a good type diversity in his offenses here.
Yeah, he can definitely click buttons against a lot of things. I don't get the Kaneko pick. I feel like he'd do way better with 11 points, but it's not the worst, I guess.
I don't actually mind the Kaneko pick looking at his defensive core, because it doesn't really handle steel.
That's true.
The Aya's weak, the Yamame does not resist, and the Letty does not resist. And Yamame very specifically has a weak defense, and Letty is kind of in the middle. And this thing is a very, very solid steel answer. But no, I will sing the praise. I love Speed Sumireko.
Oh yeah, I think it's a super underrated mon.
Draft 3, before we went full point system, that was a tier 4. That would have been like 6 points maybe in the point system. I got so much use out of that thing. It's just so good.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, top of the tier, but I think at 11 points, it's just really solid.
Yeah. Dude, she has so much coverage. She gets Brave Song, she gets Parting Shot, like, she's got some really crazy moves, some crazy utility.
Yeah, she gets Encourage, Brave Song, Parting Shot. She has fairly alright, like, her move pool is very narrow, but what she gets is really nice.
Yeah. Like, Twin Gears is, in my opinion, one of the best moves in the game. Like, she just has so much shit.
Complaint is that I do not think she has a high enough spread attack stat for them to have warranted her not getting overrun.
Yeah,
Because
I agree.
if you want Void, you're either locking into Danmaku Dance or you're running not Void because you're running an 80 base power move.
Yeah. I don't understand why they couldn't just put it in her level 70 level up pool. Like, surely her being out human or whatever, not getting TMs is like not a justification, right? Like, let's be real here.
Yeah, I don't know. I just wish she would have gotten that because, yeah, I mean, like, she doesn't. No, she takes advantage of common sense lists because she is sitting on fucking gigantic.
Yeah.
And that is just really nice to have.
Yeah. And even if you're not running, like, Drum on her, which I think Drum is one of her better items, but if you're not running Drum, you can still run a Void move, and it'll do things even if it is not overrun, and so it's not that good. It's still kind of good.
Yeah. I think if I'm not going to run Drum on her, I am going to just commit to the Danmaku Dance, but usually if I'm doing that, I'm also slotting Brave Song on her, so it is a very big hit. I don't run too many Void moves on her just because, Warp, Fighting, Steel is a good coverage pool. I guess like the thing with Drum is if you're not running Drum, it's because you have a warped move, not because you have a Void move.
Yes, I agree. Another thing I would like to see on this draft is Bind Trap, I think. Extra Aya can be a good offensive piece if you want her to be. Even like 90 special attack, like she has ways to get around that. Extra Kokoro, very good. Power Kangara, she can run like max speed if she has like some sort of support, Wing Gods or Bind Trap or something like that. I think it is a mistake that this doesn't have that.
I know the Assist Koishi is a flavor pick. It's very obvious because of the name.
Yeah.
And I think you can do some, albeit not fantastic, very funny things with Koishi if you give her a Drum. But this draft probably really wants a nice assist wriggle. It is a 4-cost with Bind Trap.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
It slots in over the Koishi, is fairly fast in her own right, gets you the Bind Trap, gets you an extra poison type. That's kind of nice to have.
Yeah, I don't... Because, like, really, what Koishi is contributing to this team is just a screens lead. That's it. I think this team is going to get harassed by Focus Sash, by Sturdy. You really want something else. Something that makes them respect you more than just, I will make my Mons bulky and...
Yeah. Either a low-cost Trapper or a low-cost, like, Spikes or Stealth Trapper.
Yeah, it needs something, anything. Poison Trap is not enough, I think. But with that said, this is definitely not a bad draft. I cannot call it that at all.
I think this is actually a fairly decent example of a good narrow draft.
Yes. Yeah.
There's ways it could be better, but it also isn't complete and utter dog water. Also, I think the Bind Trap would really help the extra Kokoro a lot, because that's only 100 speed.
Yeah, Kokoro needs it the most, definitely. And that's definitely a mon that you want to enable, because Protean with that high of a special tech is really good.
That's
no,
Protean.
I'm sorry, Mindless Stance, sorry. I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah, Mindless Dance is very good.
Very, very, very good.
And actually, another fun thing with Kokoro is, she's just fighting immune if you want her to be.
Yeah.
Like, it's not as common because, 108, 100 accuracy dark move is very good, but she can be fighting immune.
Why the fuck did I put in my notes that she has Protean? I'm so fucking stupid, y'all.
Wrong Kokoro.
Wrong Kokoro, yeah. At the minute, at bare minimum, this is a B tier draft. Possibly A tier. I can see the argument.
I can see the argument for A tier, yeah.
I think I interrupted you. You were going to say something?
I was going to say Power Kagara is a really, really good puppet.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Like I said earlier, you can run, like... I know people always put Hairpin on her, but you could actually just run, like, max speed Sword Stance and start killing things.
Max speed Sword Dance, you can throw a Scarf on her.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got the 70, she will outspeed some higher speed stuff. No, she is very, very versatile.
Yeah, you can even run special on her if you want.
Really scary. Yeah, I was gonna say, you could throw a special attack. You worried about Mr. The Magito lying in his buckets? Throw fucking Brave Burst on her.
Yeah.
See what his response is.
Yeah, she's got Brave Song too. Like...
See what his response is, but his response is Hina.
Does she not have like spinning air or anything? I feel like I'm stupid.
Oh no, she has waterfall drop. So
Okay.
his response is, I guess, Cherno.
Yeah.
Cherno also walls.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, good draft. Especially because I think this is the
next one is S tier. The next one we're gonna get into, I think.
Yeah.
I'll give you my very, very official reasoning. Normal Kosuzu.
True. I didn't even put normal Kosuzu on this doc, but yeah, she is there. Yeah. This is Casta Rice, coached by Accelat. Definitely a more defensive draft. This is like definitely a balanced draft in my opinion. It has so many good defensive options, man. E Suwako, D Tokiko, D Orange. You're going to wall everything.
Extra Miko, Power Sakia, Extra Mima, Power Minariko, Assist Kamachi, Speed Sara, and Normal Kosuzu.
Yeah.
No, I like the things I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
He's got a fast offensive piece. He's got a slow, bulky offensive piece. He has fucking Minariko.
Yeah.
That's another one that doesn't. I feel like it talked about enough. That is Tinted Lens Lilligant.
Yeah. Nobody uses this mon, and I don't know why. She is good.
One Quiver Dance, and this is Tinted Lens Lilligant with freaking Grass type Fire Blast.
Yeah. The only reason people don't use this mon more is I think because they're biased because Ihina is a mon that exists, and that's fair, but this is drafts, man. She's good in drafts.
There's one Ihina.
Yeah.
There's one Ihina.
Yeah.
I think Speed Sara's a fairly solid puppet in her own right.
Yeah.
She's got a really, really interesting type, which I like.
Yeah. Good type. Good cost too. Only 11 is pretty great for what she does.
Yeah. Only 12 for Power Minariko is like actually insane.
That should be a 14.
No, I'm not touching that thing because you should be rewarded for realizing she exists.
True. And even I like Emima. I know she gets memed on by like Overray, but she only has 100 special attack, so she's not that good. Oh, Nether and Dark aren't that good offensive types. No, you're tripping. This is a good mon.
Speaking of memed on by Overray, he does not have much of a light answer.
No, he doesn't.
Minariko.
Yeah, he's got Minariko, and that's
there's
it.
Not many.
He has no Nether answer either.
Is being thrown around. No, he doesn't really have another answer, does he?
Yeah, he's got Miko, and that's it. Miko does not want to take hits because she wants Radiant.
I was gonna say Miko. Like, wait, no, that's a freaking extra Miko. That thing will not take a hit.
Yeah.
Actually, that's another one to point out, though. Extra Miko is also a really good puppet because it's fast and it fucking kills.
Yeah, and you can't priority it. So that's another... She works well with Emimo because, oh, I'm going to overray it. No, you're not. You're literally not.
Your overray is going to do nothing when he switches into Miko.
Yeah. I will say, this is a minor nitpick. Overall, this is a really good draft. But a minor nitpick is that I don't like that your Fizz Def mainly hinges on D Tokiko. Obviously you can have, like, Isuako spec, like, blue mark, 64 defense or whatever, but, like, that's not enough, in my opinion. It'll probably work against most teams, but...
Let me open the wiki. Because I know it's not, fantastic because it's the offensive one, but, I mean, Speed Sarah is 195 Fizz. And does get, simple, bulk up, too.
Oh, she does, yeah.
Yeah, no, you can use her, in a bulky manner because she gets simple, she gets bulk up, and she gets
healing too, doesn't
first
she?
aid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'm stupid. Now that I think about it, maybe I'm stupid, and Sarah can help out with that. I'm not convinced, but we'll see. I think there's probably a play with that. I
do like her defensive profile here because a lot of his defensive pieces, his other defensive pieces, do not answer electric very well.
Yeah.
And that's actually a really big one because if somebody is throwing around, electric moves in their physical, then the orange isn't also going to just sit there.
Yeah. I think this is actually a problem that we haven't really seen up until now, but I think it's worth mentioning, is that this team doesn't have that many resists. just all around. There are a lot of mons here that only have, like, 2 or 3 resists, and that can be a big killer, especially for neuro drafts, where you kind of don't have that wiggle room, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because not a lot of, like, full-on, you know, these resist that. There's a lot of dual types that kind of lose resistances here.
Yeah. But overall, like I said, really solid draft. I would put this easily in A tier. This is a really good draft.
Yeah. I think this is definitely a solid A tier draft. This has... I guess there's not a lot with the points available that I say you should switch this out for something else. Maybe beyond the Komachi and Kosuzu for a 7, but I guess I don't really remember any good defensive 7 costs that would slot into this.
There's... No. I was gonna say a Mugetsu, but she's Spadef as well.
Yeah, there's D-Tenshi, but that kind of fills just a similar role to Sarah without needing to set up.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, it's a pretty well optimized team.
D-Serial, actually. That one, or is that one special too?
Let me check.
D and E. Yeah, either D or E is... One's physical, the other's special. Okay, D's special. But it's the same physical bulk as Sarah, but yeah, no, that one's more special.
Yeah. Next up, we have Golf with Ghosts, coached by Kalt.
Cult draft.
This is a Cult draft.
Finals lock. This is the time. This is his year.
I don't understand how he managed to troll pick 3 times in a row and still come out with a really solid draft.
He's investing in Mera coin. Watch out.
So, the reason that he's investing in Mera coin right now, I don't think he said this directly, but Mera was getting discussed in Encore chat about how she's actually just one of the worst mons in existence, and she needs help. And he decided to just use her, I suppose. Which, I really do think that Mera's the only mon that does nothing for this team. Like, everything else here does something. Which is crazy. Even the clown piece does something.
She's my favorite mon. She's immune to fighting, but what does she do back to the fighting type?
Well, you see... That's it. I'm not gonna follow up to that.
He has Doc Toyo. This draft's insane. He has the freaking fast rat. That thing's really good.
Yeah.
I really, really like speed meleeing.
Oh,
Even if she's more kind of like mid solid depth.
Yeah.
He can just match steal. He has extra Lily sitting right there.
Yeah. People look at Esme Ling. It's like, oh, it's Mianxiao. Mianxiao fell off. She must not be good. Dude. Fighting is so much better in this game than in Mons. She's a really good Mon. Well, not really good, but she's good.
Yeah. I think she's fairly solid.
Yeah.
He's got a Bind Trapper and Ellen, which is actually nice with stuff like Moko on his team. And Doc to a degree, if he wants to throw something on Doc to kill people.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that thing is, what, 120 special attack, 75 speed?
Yeah, her stats are super max for no reason. And you actually bring something up that I was going to bring up, and that's that this team's hazard game, like, obviously if you ignore the Mera, right, she doesn't count, but if you ignore the Mera, this team's hazard game is, like, really good. Like, I really like Stealth Trap lead S. Nazrin. Aaron obviously doesn't have a better move to slot in, and Bind Trap is, like, the SLN thing, right? That's why Mirage uses her.
Yes. I don't think you truly understand this, though, Eevee, how good Bind Trap is here, because not only can Doc benefit it if you want to go a fast offensive Doc, Moko benefits it if you want to go a fast offensive Moko, Toyo benefits from it if you want to go a fast offensive Toyo, because that has 80 speed.
Yeah.
Suika, I think, has like 100. That benefits from it. Mei Ling benefits from it.
Yeah. It's really good.
This entire draft is speed tiers that love Bind Trap.
Yeah.
And then Nazrin, because Nazrin is good.
Yeah. And I think the funniest part, I don't know if this will ever pop up, but it's Cult, so it might. It's that if you really want, I'm not saying this is good, but this is an option, you can tech into, like, a really scuffed Genbu build, because you've got, like, Calm Mind D Yuko, Aaron is slow enough that you could go min speed on her and catch some people off guard. Same thing with Moko. Clown, obviously 40 speed.
With the scuffed Genbu, is extra Lily is 10 speed.
Yeah, you're never underspeeding her.
He will go up. No, not much. He will go up against where Bind Trap will ruin his Genbu.
Yeah, yeah. Like if he sees Bind Trap on the opponent's team, like the opponent has to entertain the idea that he might tech Genbu and purposely keep the Bind Trap up. That's scary.
Yeah. I'm more talking about he could just have Lily in the back to just set Genbu when he wants and has an opening, and his own Bind Trap more often than not will not ruin this because Lily is that fucking slow.
Yeah. You just have to be careful that if you are running Bind Trap and Genbu at the same time, that you're not bringing in like your Toyo or something. But I mean, he's smart enough to know that, so.
Yes.
Yeah. And also, I don't think this is stressed enough. His Fire Water Grass Core is so good. Holy shit.
Also, Lily can work outside Genbu because she's fat as fuck and still hits hard.
Yeah, man, I don't understand what they were cooking with Lily. I get it. Oh, Lily Black, we're making her. I actually don't get it, even with Lily Black. But yeah, she's fat. She hits like a truck. You could just put Glamorous on her and she kills. Like, it's very stupid.
Yeah. I forget, does immunity spin block?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say, because if that was the one way to do it, even
that would be funny. Yeah, that would be really funny, but no. Encore 2026, though.
I think I have to put this in S tier, even with his troll picks.
I can see that, like, yeah. I put it in A tier myself, but...
Fire Grass Core is really good. His Bind Trap utilization here, roster-wise, is really good. And his troll picks outside of Maracoin
are useful.
Solid.
Yeah.
I mean, Clone is debatable, but Power Suika is something you must respect.
Yeah, and she's a steal for 2. Like, she would be usable at 4.
I think she was supposed to be increased 2, and I forgot to increase her like I did Kosuzu.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I will put good old Golf with Ghosts, Mr. His Aching Blood, into S tier.
Yeah, maybe.
Also, I like how he asked for all the logos and then did not put the logos into the doc. Yeah,
I think he mentioned trying to fix that, so maybe you can... He tried inserting the logos and it, like, glitched or something, so maybe you can help him with that. I don't really know how Google Docs
probably
works.
I can just at one point go through myself.
Yeah.
Basically what I do is I just do like an image insert, like an image link in the side thing, and then just go to the thing posted in Discord, because that will stay up for the extensive draft.
Yeah. I tried. Yeah. No Dodge Club, coached by Jolly. This is a just really good draft.
This is a solid draft. He's got some real good pieces here.
Yeah.
I think that's what I put. Yeah, I think he really made the most of his low costs.
Yeah.
Extra Yuki's really solid at 6. Extra Patrol, he's really solid at 8. Speed Umemi is really good.
Oh yeah, for sure. Another thing is that he has a really nasty combo that I think lower knowledge players might not see at first, and that is Sore Loser plus Positive. That is so scary in a game where Intimidate spam is like as common as it is. Like, this kind of shuts down Bind Trap, not really, but you can just kill people sometimes if they decide to bring Bind Trap. Intimidate cores just get fucked, just straight up. It's just such a good combo.
I'm looking at this. I really like his last 3 picks a lot, actually.
Yeah. P. Shizuha and P. Irumi are both disgustingly undercost. They're both good. P. Shizuha especially. How is she 3?
Yes, he has the Dorm and he has the Aaron to deal with Electric, but he has some things that are weak to Electric. And so he's got some fairly solid depth Earth types there. He's got a nice warped immunity with the Kyoko. And he's got the Shizuha for some of his Earth woes and Meira, Yumemi, and Aaron. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, again, Dormy kind of answers a lot of that, and the other ones answer them too. But I really like those as depth pieces, as other things to bring in the case you need something. But
yeah.
man,
Another, like, I don't know how relevant this will be, but there's like 5 Wishmons on this team. I don't know.
Wish pass,
Yeah.
wish pass.
I mean, unironically, it could go hard. Ipatchy obviously always uses Wish, but like, Aaron can run Wish if it's not like running Calm Mind or some shit. P Arumi, if you're not putting Hairpin on it, which you usually aren't in draft, she can run Wish. Like, you have to be prepared to chew through multiple health bars when you're going against this team. And
Yeah.
combined with the fact that there's so much scary
actually-
shit, like,
I really like, as like a low cost kind of defensive core, extra Patrolli and assist Kyoko.
yeah, they cover each other pretty
They
well.
actually they cover each other pretty well, both in in stats and in typing.
Yeah.
Because assist Kyoko's a bit more spread, extra Patrolli is very focused.
Yeah, just some really intelligent picks all around. I mean, there's so much type diversity here too. This team's capable of
I'm
so
like
much.
actually really excited to see what Jolly does. Jolly's good.
Yeah, Jolly's really good.
I feel like he kind of came out of nowhere in the first draft he did, but he went far, and he's good. I am really excited to see what he does with this team.
Yeah, for sure. I played against him in some friendlies. Or I remember the first time I played against him in some friendlies, and I did not respect him at all because, oh, he's a new player, what is he gonna do? And I got my ass handed to me. Like, he's good.
No, he is. I am really excited to see what he does with this team.
Yeah,
'Cause
this is definitely-
this is like really solid.
Yeah. If there's one draft to keep your eyes on in Division 1, it's this one. Watch these matches. This guy he's gonna cook with this, I guarantee you.
I've used Speed Umemi once before. I think it was draft 1, and again, this was like I was a new player at that point, so I didn't do the best. But that thing put in work.
Yeah, very good, Mon.
I teched into the triple Umemi that draft because I kept stealing from Baru, who also wanted the triple Umemi draft.
How do you let that happen?
But yeah, no, that thing. Oh well, draft 1 was free draft, and it was horrible.
Yeah. But I mean, how did he let you take the third Umemi? Surely he would have had the opportunity.
Because
because
nobody was
Shinki
getting
and
it.
Yumeko. Yeah, right.
No, this is before he was full Shinki Yumeko pilled.
Oh.
This was back when Baru would actually make teams and not pick Mystic Square.
Man,
No, I just remember because
he's
I
catching
took
strays and
Power
he's not
Umemi
even in the
early.
draft.
I took Power Umemi early, and then like he kept thinking. I don't think I stole the speed one, but he was looking at like I took extra Doremi at one point, I think, and I took the extra Umemi just because I had the other 2 Umemis, and those were the other 2 I sniped from him.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think this is easily an S tier draft. This is such a good draft.
I know this is just solid all around.
Yeah.
I like what all of these puppets bring to the table. I think the only one that might be a little bit I don't see it as much is the Speed Meira, but fast, steel and dark, good types to have to hit with. I like Meira Coin.
Yeah.
I wish somebody would draft Power Meira. She's actually not that bad.
Electric fighting is a really solid typing. Like, really
It's a fun
solid,
type.
yeah. Alright. Next up, we have Division 2. I'm sorry. I'm already laughing at this team. I'm sorry. The Pipe Bomb Puppeteers, coached by Red. What the fuck, man?
Okay,
That's all I can say.
Now, I know we said we're not going to factor coaches into this, but I will say I have to put this in F tier because this is just a free match every week since it's red.
It's evil. But man, like, actually, I want to know what is going on with this draft because, like, it has no, like, okay, I guess Imayumi's a defensive piece and D-Medicine can be a defensive piece, but, like, we're not about to pretend that these are good, right?
It has the really, really highly touted defensive core of Extra Hina Defense Medicine, which, as we know, Poison Fire and Poison Grass cover each other perfectly. I mean, I guess technically the big weakness between those two is wind, and Mayumi does cover wind.
Yeah. Yeah, Mayumi and Medicine cover each other basically perfectly. The problem is that it's fucking Defense Medicine and extra Mayumi. Like, are we for real?
I don't like the Tereda and Satono he took. I kind of like extra Satono, but I know he has the medicine that's nether. I would have liked to see one of the two nature type dancers, because both of those are really fucking good.
They are good. Although they might have been too expensive for him, but he could have just not drafted Kosuzu and Akyu. They're not.
Assholes is 13. I am sure one of those isn't one of those, or am I tripping and they're both higher?
There's no way they're higher than 13.
One might be.
I also hate that his
Tereda. Oh yeah, no, they are 12 and 11. He easily could have afforded them.
Yeah, he could have gone them. Yeah, I really
he
hate that his
both
fastest.
the speed ones actually.
Yeah, I really hate that his fastest mon is Power Churno, 105 speed. Like, come on now. His only really good.
No bind trap.
Yeah, no bind trap. His hazards, like you see, oh, he's got 5 unique hazards, or hazard setters. That's pretty good, right? The only 2 good ones, I think, here are Extra Hina for the Poison Trap and Defense Kosuzu for the Mind Trap. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Extra Mayumi. Defense Kosuzu does have Mind Trap, but I think she doesn't contribute that much to this team. And, like, obviously, the Churno and Kyoko were never clicking
is
their
mostly
traps.
just there to hit her priority Yoko moves.
Yeah. Thank you, Kyusen, for that meme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish Extra Kyoko was better. She's not, because like she can belly drum, but she's lacking the tools to make the belly drum set work.
Well, I mean, let's be real. He took her because she blows up.
Oh, I guess, yeah, he's exploding.
Yeah.
This is Red we're talking about.
Yeah, it is. Like, his only really good offensive pieces are Extra Hina and Extra Yumeko, and then after that, it's just so mid.
I mean, okay, Power Kodo is heavily walled by like a type or two, but
yeah. Well, I'm a Power Kodo believer, but
she hits like a fucking freight train.
She does.
Extra Tereda, Extra Satono can hit hard, but they are slow, not very bulky.
Yeah.
And again, Tereda specifically, he does not have the tool that makes her fast. That's why I would have liked to see the fast, hard-hitting Tereda.
Yeah, I agree. I cannot, in good faith, put this in anywhere other than F tier. I think this draft fucking sucks. There, I said it.
Fair. Yeah, no. I will put it in F tier.
Yeah.
There is a lot better. He says he's a theme draft. I think I would put this in D, maybe C tier, if he went for either of the speed dancers, because that is a piece that can contribute.
Yeah, they would actually do things, especially because they're like 120 or 125 speed. They could do some things, like actually.
Yeah,
they contribute to offense a lot.
is like 125 spread attack, 125 speed, and then speed Satono is less because it's less attack, less speed, but it's I guess it's a better defensive typing in Nature Electric, and
she's a Quiver Dance one, right?
Quiver Dance.
Yeah. That one's really good. I like that mon a lot.
Quiver Dance Synthesis. I like both of them so much.
Yeah, good mons. He didn't bring them though, so I mean he can still free agent. We'll see if he actually does.
It's red. F tier.
Yeah. Okay. This is almost just as unforgivable. I'm sorry, Lightli. We have the Forgotten Orchestral Gig, coached by Lightli, and man, this defensive profile is so unforgivable.
He has pieces, but the cohesion is
not there. Yeah.
He has the Ello bind trap, but I don't like his bind trap profile.
Yeah.
Like, the only things really taking advantage of it are offensive Doc and Kogasa. Because Chimada's being priority, That doesn't care too much. Hikaisha's slow as balls. Mima's already fast.
Well, okay, Hikaisha becomes a
Rukono's
90
slow as
speed.
balls.
Hikaisha becomes a 90 speed when she transforms.
But, I guess, but you're not investing in the 90 speed. So
Yeah,
sure,
that's true.
She could get some use out of it, but you're not investing in it.
Yeah, because you need her to be bulky on a team like this.
Magen's slow. Mino's slow. Maybe Serial does, but Serial's going to get Mach punched.
Yeah, Serial's not good, let's be real. Yeah. And Kagasa, I also think, has a problem because this team is so goddamn weak to things like sound, for example. The sound's weak to Unforgivable. She needs to go defensive just to patch up like some holes, you know? Like how often?
Don't say defensive speak, Kagasa. I have tried that before. It does not work.
I know it doesn't, but she needs to because, like, what else do you do otherwise? Doc and Hikaisha are not enough.
He puts a hairpin on Shimada because he doesn't need to invest in speed. He just max HP, max attack, and you click priority move.
Yeah, but it needs Brave Song though.
How he sustains that. Don't ask how he sustains that, but yeah. Yeah, no, he has a very sound weak.
Yeah, very sound weak, very poison weak, very illusion weak, very nature weak. It's cooked. Especially nature. He has no resists. That's a bad. You don't want to have no resist to nature.
Yeah, he has no resist to nature.
Yeah.
He can't even claim Hikaisha because even the nature Hikaisha is not resistant to nature.
Yep. And I think the coverage is not even that good. Like, this is obviously a more, like, hyper-offense draft, but the coverage is not good for hyper-offense, man. Like, Hikaisha is limited to the stabs of her forms, and, like, yeah, that's okay coverage. Like, SLN...
Another issue with the hyper-offense thing, where's his fucking hazard setter, man?
Yeah. Like, oh, yeah, man, I'm gonna bring Rikoto.
I would have liked doesn't Speed Chen get Stealth Trap? If not, Speed Aya.
You think I know what that shitmon does?
Mono wins that have Stealth Trap that are the freaking hyper offense enablers. You set your Stealth Trap, you die, and then you send out your Mima and try to kill things.
Yeah, like, Assist Rikoto would be maybe a bit acceptable if Exploding prevented spin, but it doesn't, so what does she do? Like, actually...
She's a poison immunity, and a warped immunity, and that's about it.
No, but you don't understand. 80 attack plus Full Metal Crash.
Immunity. That's the other. That's the extra.
Yeah, that's extra. Immunity. Yeah.
That one actually would have probably been better here because not only is that a poison type, it's a warped immunity.
Yeah, I mean, at least he has Doc to eat Poison Trap, but yeah. I also don't like that his pivoting is limited to just the Coggers, the Mima, and the Ellen. I think that's bad. You really want a defensive piece that can pivot, and he just doesn't have that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
In my notes, I put this in C tier, but honestly, the more that I talk about it, the more that I feel this should go in F. It's just a bad draft.
Yeah, F. I'd maybe say D, but it's up there with kind of offensively bad.
Yeah.
I don't get the Magen pick. I don't get what she adds to this roster.
Because, like, it's a good Mon, but she doesn't contribute to the plan.
Like, she's, I guess, the focus attacker here, but she doesn't, work with the other attackers and defensive pieces to provide. Like, if it was, a faster, 90-100 speed strong focus attacker, I could more get it because then that's, at least working with the bind trap.
Yeah. Yeah, he spent 17 on it too. That's the worst part. That could have been like literally anything.
That could have been so much.
Yeah. I think it's offensively bad.
Yeah, you know what? I'm agreeing with you now. I think the Magen pick alone is offensively bad.
Yeah.
Like, Magen's good, but
not here.
That is just not a good pick here.
Yeah, not here. Not here.
And somehow he'll still end up in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's an interesting fellow. Alright, we've got the Moria Mishiguchi, coached by Kei. And
this is
Genbu.
the narrow draft.
Yep. This...
We want Genbu and we want Nero.
Yeah. This draft has 2 modes. You go Genbu, or you just don't bring those last 3 Mons. That's it. That's all you have. Yep. But it's strong enough that it'll probably work and carry them to playoffs.
Well, this is a draft that is ride or die on the coach.
Yeah. A
good coach takes this draft to the playoffs. A bad coach flounders.
That's true. That's true.
It has somehow Cherno, Toyo, and Suwako. I think Pool 2 needs to be shot for letting one person get that. All 3 of those. But Power Yugi is dog shit. Power Rika is a meme. Assisted Lunasa is completely pointless and should not exist.
Yeah.
Speed Same does not contribute with the Genbu meme, so you are... I don't like bringing her with the Genbu, but I mean, I guess if your Genbu goes down, then you can fall back on her, but...
I actually kind of like it because it provides enough flexibility. Like, you can decide to not go Genbu for a matchup if you really need to, and if you can see that Sanae has, like, a really good matchup. I wouldn't do it, but you could.
Because then you're just running, you know, bulky offensive Waka and Lily.
Yeah.
Because if you're not going Genbu, you are not bringing those last 3.
Yeah, yeah. But then the problem...
Lunasa at all.
Yeah. They must have confused A Lunasa for D Lunasa, right? Because that's like the actual Genbu Lunasa. That's the only thing I can think of.
I mean, I guess that one's not too bad because he has the Wako to deal with the wind, but...
I think my big concern is that I feel like the S-Sanae is a tech option for when you don't want to go Genbu, but the problem is if you are going Genbu, you can only do extra Cherno, extra Toyo, extra Wakasagi, extra Suwako, extra Lily, extra Sanae, and then you have no answer to poison. I think that's really bad.
Yeah. And I mean, even if you don't go the Sanae, you're bringing the Rika in.
Yeah.
As much as Rika is an answer to poison, it's not an answer to much else.
Yeah, Rika is not much of an answer to anything unless she's under Genbu.
This team gets absolutely rolled by anything that is a fighting type. It has a moderately okay offenses.
Yeah. Yeah, fighting types, poison types, they're going to annihilate this team unless it's piloted very well.
The answer is an assist Lunasa. And
Skull
let me
emoji.
tell you what assist Lunasa is going to contribute to this team.
Fucking nothing.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I think despite all these weaknesses, though, this team, if it's piloted well, is going to annihilate things. Like, I'm torn between B and A.
I guess the annihilate thing is I'm still like really just iffy because this is matchup fishing.
It is.
Yes,
but...
he has the really fat bullshit, but the really fat bullshit can be played around in it really, you know, alongside the fact that he is uber reliant on Genbu.
Yeah, that he is, and like that makes your team very easy to attack against.
Genbu, this team is honestly kind of dog water. Like, yes, he's got the really strong offensive things, but I feel like the cohesion just isn't there. Like, I just feel like, yes, Cherno, Toyo, Wako are good. They can be played around.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I see your point.
Sanae is good. Sanae does not really hit into anything with a very strong or fairly strong spread bulk that she does not hit super effective.
Yeah.
Unless she gets a Sharp Wind up or two. But if you're running Sharp Wind, you're not running Genbu.
Yeah, everything here has exactly one plan, and that makes your team very easy to attack against. Even if that one plan is good, it can be a bit scary.
It is not the best thing to base a draft around one thing in a draft, because when your opponent knows what you're bringing, you can't really matchup fish.
Yeah.
Stuff like this is strong in tourneys where you do not have the foresight of what your opponent could bring. And so if you do not have a Genbu answer, they bring Genbu and you know you're fucked. But if you are staring down the words Genbu on a giant flying sign, you're gonna build for Genbu.
Yeah. I think...
I guess the thing is is it's super easy to build against Genbu, but I do not believe this draft can win against a Genbu built team, even if he does not tech into Genbu. Like if he tries to be surprised and I'm not actually Genbu, I don't have too much faith in this draft to win against some of these other ones if it doesn't build into its core gimmick. But then if it's building into its core gimmick, I feel like it can be countered.
I agree.
Because the thing is if
tentatively,
I guess the problem with all these super spooky defensive pieces is, well, one, anytime you have to switch them out, you are wasting Genbu turns.
Yep, you only get 4 of those.
Some of the times, it's not exactly beneficial for these things to outspeed the strong attackers. Like, maybe if you want your Cherno to cripple something it switches in against because they can't fast pivot out, it could work. But if you're up against something that's already like a bulky attacker and is still faster than Cherno, well, you're either maybe trying to set up traps, attacking, not doing too much, fast pivoting out and letting something else take the hit, or you wasting a turn because you can't heal here, because unless you're already damaged.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Sometimes I feel like fast heal on bulky stuff is not exactly what you want.
Yeah, it depends on the situation, and the problem with Genbu is that you don't get to choose you get to choose situation once, and if you regret it, tough luck.
Yeah. I guess that's why I don't want to really put it. I'd put it in C because yes, he has all the strong stuff. I just don't like I just don't think without Genbu, the team is all that cohesive, and with Genbu, it is far too predictable.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Personally, I'll put it in B just because I think Genbu is a really strong archetype. But there are definitely some drafts that we've seen that he just doesn't have a chance of winning against, just straight up. It's matchup fish. I think the matchup fish is strong enough to kind of justify, but it's not strong enough to make it a particularly great draft.
And again, it also is very ride or die on the coach. Because, like, again, if you want to look at, well, what happens if you build into the Genbu archetype really hard, go look at Stan in Draft 4, because that's what he did. I mean, he built into Genbu and he built into Aurora, which I think is more merit into building into two
at once
archetypes, because it's a lot harder to prepare for both
than it is
and only have one bring. Like I guess in my match against Stan, I had some really good counters to both, and so it was easy to prepare. But I don't think it is always easy to prepare for two really strong archetypes at once,
as opposed to
one really strong archetype.
Yeah.
And again, like, we're talking Genbu. This thing, he is so horribly weak to taunt.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, Cherno does not want to get taunted. Wako does not want to get taunted. Waka does not want to get taunted. Lily does not want to get taunted. Sanae, to some degree, does not want to get taunted. And he does not have anything to, like, get momentum off of a taunt, unless he's just swinging to kill because he sees the taunt coming.
Yeah, and even then, that can put you in a worse spot, because then something comes in that threatens to one-tap you, and then you can't Genbu and you lose from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's got a lot of strengths, but it also has a lot of really glaring weaknesses. It is.
I will put this as, I think this is a bad example of building narrow.
Yes.
If that was a good example, this is a bad example of building narrow.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Next up, we have the Gensokyo Globetrotters, coached by K5, or Regin, whatever his name is.
/ Regan / whatever other things he's used.
Yeah, I'll just call him K5 because that's what I knew him as when I played against him.
Yeah.
I mean, Ditokiku Ilirica, right? But I think
Ditokiku Ilirica, Ikikuri, very solid core there.
Yeah. But something that's really concerning, though, is that there's no hazards on this team. I really hate that. No. Wait, no, I'm
Yeah.
stupid. Wait, no, no,
It's
no, 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 no.
Tokiko.
He's got
Tokiko has
Tokiko for.
hazards.
Man, wait, this
Yeah.
doc is lying to me. For whatever reason, it doesn't show that Tokiko has Stealth Trap. Yeah, so he got Stealth Trap.
The helper can be kind of borked sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. Tokiko has Stealth Trap, but other than that, he's got no other form of hazards. I think that's a bit scary.
I guess I'm not entirely going to say that it's really bad because I think just even the one is good to have. Like, yes, I guess a lot of the times you play around hazards, it's the same counter of trap. I think only having poison is worse than only having mine
That
or
is true.
stealth.
Definitely true.
Because there's more to play around with poison than there is the other ones. I think Tokiko having stealth traps on its own is kind of fine enough for hazards. Yes, another might be good, but I'm not going to knock the draft in this case
That's
for
true.
not having it.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking defense Tokiko.
Yeah, it's a really good mon. Another thing that I think is a bit more egregious than that, is that I'm struggling to remember which other draft was like this, but this draft does not have a lot of resistances, and it has a lot of stacked types as well. So its defensive profile, it's not bad because there's a lot of things that take hits neutrally, but it's not like it doesn't impress me, is what I'm trying to say.
I could see that. I kind of wish he instead of the grabbing the power Kokoro and the power Yukari, he maybe spec'd into one more thing that can take advantage of the fact that Speed Luna sets Sun, because if you have another thing that's pretty good at that, that's just another wrinkle that the opponent has to think. And I know there's still a lot of problems with the fact that damage went mad with power and his weather tax, but even just a solid thing that has light as an attacking option.
Yeah.
I think would have made this draft a little bit better, because it might not always come. You might not always run Sun on Luna, but that's another wrinkle that they plan for.
Yeah. At the very least, Kokoro has consistent light coverage, but I don't think that's enough.
I guess I don't like it because Kokoro's really slow.
Yeah. At the very least, it does quote unquote cover her crippling dark weakness. Obviously it's still bad. It's still 2x under Sun, but it's not the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say
crippling dark. Are you talking Luna's crippling or Kokoro's crippling?
Kokoro.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say this draft had a crippling dark weakness, and I was gonna call you out of that. What?
No. The
PR right there.
Yeah. No, I meant Kokoro specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got a lot of really strong breakers. It's got good cleaners too. Isumi, Reko, and S Luna threaten to close games instantly. And then Hikaisha, Sakuya, Kakuri, they just kill.
We love Porygon Z in this household.
Yeah. Good mon, a little bit underrated, although she's probably fine where she's currently costed.
She's fine at 11. I don't think she's super powered, but she is. You have to respect her.
Yeah, you have to prepare for her.
Doesn't she also get Danmaku Dance too? Because
Danmaku Dance,
the devs are insane.
Yeah, Danmaku Dance and Tri-Effect, no overrun.
Yeah. Well, overrun would be insane.
Yeah, obviously.
Or now we are talking K5 here. If he really wants to be completely fucking insane, he does not have the bind trap to facilitate this, but Sash Deathmatch Power Hikaisha is real.
Oh my god. Don't ever say that again.
It has 100 focus attack. It can run it. That is a 400 base power move at 1 HP.
Okay, Grandpa, let's get you to bed.
Okay, no, I'm changing my tune. If he took anything with Bind Trap, I would give him an S, just because he can run that.
That does seem to be a common recurring theme, because even if we set aside that set, there are a lot of mons that really appreciate Bind Trap. Obviously just Hikaisha in general, Sumi, Reko.
I think Heka and Sumi are
that's justification
a good
enough
reason for Bind Trap here.
Yeah. Even okay, I hate talking anything positive about Piyukari, but unironically, if you have Bind Trap up and then you can stall with her long enough, she can do things sometimes.
Yeah.
There, I said it. I don't completely hate her.
I just want to take a look here. So, I guess if he were to drop the Koko and the Yukari, because he wants the Hikaisha because that's flavor mascot pick.
Yeah. Well,
So what would be a good 10
he
cost?
Oh, well, yeah. No, it would have to be a 9 cost because that would bring him to 8 otherwise.
Yeah, you gotta
do at least 9.
Kokoro and Yukari.
Am I?
If you drop Kokoro and Yukari, that's 6 plus 4. That's 10.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is you have to slot in 2 mons still because you have to reach 9 mons, right? Or is that 10?
2, 3. He's at 10, so he could take both of them out and slot something else in.
Oh, right, because he's got a 1 cost that I don't have listed on my doc. Whoops.
Oh yeah, because he has the normal Hakesha.
Normal Hakesha, yeah. I completely forgot. Okay, yeah, never mind. I'm stupid.
Yeah, I was looking at the 10s. Like, is there something that I could see off the top of my head that I think would actually like to work with the Luna? Not really seeing anything. Okay, I have something in mind that I wouldn't. I just like it as a puppet that would be kind of nice to maybe see here. I don't know about typing, but I am actually a big fan of Power Aiki.
Really?
So I think she's 12. I think Fighting Light's a very solid type, and I think she is solid enough. I mean, at a 12 cost, I think she's very solid because she has enough bulk to kind of take hits. You could run hairpin on her. She's really, she's hitting 140, so you could just throw on a band and hit Mach Punch and whatnot. And then she can also kind of play off the light too. Like, it's something you have to respect.
Yeah.
Without, stacking another dark weakness.
Yeah. That is another thing. He's got 3 void types, which I'm not a huge fan of. But it's still a good draft. Like, let's not fool ourselves here. This is a good draft. Yeah, this is.
I'm not going to say it's an S draft, but I'll put it at an A.
Yeah. Alright. Next up, we've got Genbu's Dick Smasher, coached by Sumi, which does not have a single Genbu mon.
Well, okay, he's Genbu's Dick Smasher, so I'm assuming that means he wants to counter Genbu. So we need to judge this in the lens that he's trying to counter Genbu.
Oh, so true.
Does Extra Ellis get taunt? Does anything on here get taunt?
Let's check real quick.
Because if something on here gets taunt, he has countered the Genbu draft.
Oh yeah, basically everything. Like literally everything
there
on his. Go. Yeah.
It is an accurate draft. Also, he has extra Yachi.
Yeah. So his draft. I only remember this because I talked to him about it. His draft used to be significantly worse. I don't remember what it had before, other than like Diache and some other defense pieces nobody cares about. But he swapped them out for extra Fudo and extra Iku, and I think it makes a big difference. I think the draft is much more cohesive now.
Maybe.
I do have some problems with it still.
My note here is I don't know if I like his defensive core here.
Me neither. He stacks 2 4x weaknesses. That is bad. You don't want to do that. Because
2, he has 3.
Yeah,
he has Kei, which has 1. He has Suwako, which has 1. He has Ellis, which has 1.
Oh, I wasn't even counting
his defensive.
Yeah, core. I wasn't even counting Suwako because she doesn't heal, right? I'm not stupid.
I don't know if she has heal, but she's still got bulk. I mean, she is a defensive puppet.
Yeah.
She might have Grace of Mana.
Let me check real quick.
I think.
Oh yeah, she does have it. She does have it.
Describe this feels like an attorney draft with a couple more brain cells put into it.
That's mean. This has significantly more brain cells than an attorney draft.
Like it's very much fast offense and then kind of a oh wait, maybe like I need bulky pieces. This is a defensive core, right? And I guess I don't really have much faith in the Ellis carrying this defensive core.
Yeah, Tay and Ellis.
Ellis is good. Ellis is annoying. I do not have faith in it holding up this defensive core.
Yeah, because the thing is, she's got that 4x Earth weakness. Oh, okay, I'm going to help her out with Ite. Now you've got a 4x Wind weakness. Well, okay, P Mystia can sometimes be a defensive piece if I put Smooth Sailing on it, which I've done before. It's not a meme. It's not a meme, I swear. Defensive P Mystia is good. But now you're 4x weak to Electric. Like, there's so... I've said it before, like, 1 or 2 4x weaknesses is not that bad in draft, but you have many of them. They're all defensive pieces.
I'm not going to say defensive power Mistia because that sounds cap, but
No,
I will say
it's not.
I've seen some defensive or like more kind of defense support oriented EQ sets, and that I feel like more is the choice to handle the fact that his defensive core does not cover Earth in the slightest.
Yeah, yeah. She's got like pretty respectable bulk. She can heal. Like she does things.
I also do not like that it is the EQ and the Mistia that is keeping sound in check.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you need to keep sound in check when you are sitting on the greatest puppet ever made, but her only downside is she's 4x weak to sound.
Yeah. Okay, to be fair, he also has P. Wakasagi, which it will always be sound absorb. Well, it always is going to be because you need to counter taunt.
Yeah.
And on that
counter
note...
taunt and counter other things like phase inversion.
I will say, I really like this team's offenses. Extra Fudo, really scary mon. P. Wakasagi and Iyachi, they can take the game instantly. Ishizuha,
I like the team's
obviously.
offenses.
Yeah.
The offenses is not the problem with the team. It's the really lackluster defensive core.
Yeah. And so, I think this is kind of just plainly hyper offense. I think this can be piloted to playoffs for sure. This has potential to get there. I don't know if it can get much further.
I feel like almost anything with an extra Yachier in it can be piloted too. I do need to make the thing. I genuinely think, like, yes, we have the Lyrica is the GOAT because she's good. I would put Yachier in the GOAT argument because that thing is monstrous.
Over Lyrica?
I don't know about over Lyrica, but I honestly would put it close. Like, I think extra Yachier it has a couple things it can't really hit. But it is such a monster in what it can hit.
Yeah.
Because we are talking never miss 120 base power, fighting and warped, and it gets Earth. Extra Earth coverage. Like, your Yachier set is basically the same thing. It is going to be imposing air, dual stab, in either, and like shooting press.
Yeah.
But she also just gets decrescendo, because why not?
Wait, really? I didn't even know that. What?
It's fucking decrescendo.
Dude!
Not?
Oh my god.
No, actually, Yachier is a fucking monster of a puppet.
Jesus Christ. I already thought she was one of the best extended mons. I mean, the best, sorry. The best, but man,
yeah, she is the
that's
best
so disgusting.
Extended.
I hate her
put
design.
this at B. Really good offenses, very lackluster defensive core.
Yeah, same. B tier draft.
Like, this can be piloted, but I can see this draft dying like so hard.
Yeah, you gotta be really careful with your defensive pieces, because anti-type charms can only go so far.
Anti-type, and like float stone. Like, like your kind of reliance here is the little certified crackhead set of floatstone defense Suwako to get your funny stimulative boost or whatever it is.
That is the little crackhead set, yeah. Alright. Next up...
Alright, back to another wide draft.
Yeah, the Totetsu Devourers. I don't hate it, but it is extremely schizophrenic.
it is a schizo draft.
Yeah. I don't...
It has some crazy highs in like of like actually solid pieces of like defense Ringo, and then you have speed Momiji.
Yeah.
Somebody actually drafted speed Momiji.
No, Gale Form Extreme Speed goes so hard. Trust. I don't hate this draft. I will say I don't hate it.
I don't hate it. He's got a lot of the... He's got some solid low costs. He's got extra costs, and that's a really solid 6. He's got Kangara, that's a really solid 4.
And Pito Kiko, so she's not a low cost, she's 15, but she's a good mon. Nobody uses her, but she's good.
She's a good mon. I think defense Toyo can work. He's got... So a lot of his pieces are electric. You know, he's got some electric weaks, but he also handles that very well with Toyo, Ringo, and Sarah.
Yeah. Like, Toyo's only real problem is that she has just her stabs to attack with, but that's not even that bad. Like, she's got lazy, but she's fine.
I don't hate extra Kodahime. She's a niche poison type. Like, she can hit pretty hard. She's not, an earth breaker, but she's a grounded poison, so that's good to have.
Yeah.
And you kind of do need to respect her damage.
Yeah, I've lost because I haven't respected her damage before, so...
Defense Urumi is a bit of a weird one. She's basically dark. I think her like design was supposed to be something around dark type Vaporeon.
That's so stupid.
It's very weird.
Now, what did Bar mean by that?
That might have been a cult set, actually.
What did Cal mean by this? Why did he give the Cal character the Vaporeon set? What did he mean by that? Anyways.
I'm not going to say it's bad, but Mono Dark is not exactly a type you want to have.
Yeah, it's Stealth Trap Weak is just so...
But that and the Momiji are kind of the weakest links. Like, I guess he could have dropped both of those and taken a
anything
14
else?
cost,
Yeah.
which has a lot of really solid things.
Yeah, a lot of good things here. I think, like, his actual win conditions are, like, actually pretty solid, because you mentioned the Sarah already, but, like, S Megamu's back. Really, really, really good win condition. Like, use her.
You know what I want to see on this team, actually?
What?
Now that I just took a brief look. Drop the Momiji, drop the Urumi. Give me the Aiseki Banki Power Yuma core.
Really? I kind of see the vision, I guess.
Give me the freaking Fog into Strong Dark Attack. He's not, like, uber built into light on the side, because he really only has the Megamu there.
Yeah, true, yeah. It hurts the D-Ringo, though, which...
Does it? I guess, yeah, because if there's other dark types.
Yeah.
Like, it's an idea of... I mean, also...
I don't hate it,
Aiseki's not terrible.
Yeah. Aiseki's a very decent defensive mon. Like, people look at her,
But,
she's just Fog, but she does so much more than that.
There's so many good things he could have taken at 14 if he slotted those out. Instead of Momiji, he could have had Defense Nemino. That one's a great option. If you wanted a steel attacker, he could have had extra Merlin. He could have had extra Momiji.
Oh yeah, extra Momiji looks like it goes kind of hard here.
I should look at the correct draft board to make sure those are all available.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they are all available.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 14 has some really solid... I would have liked to see not those two and to take a 14 cost instead, because there's a lot of solid in the 14. Power Tenshi.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, that does triple up on Earths, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it's probably fine.
Yeah, probably don't need to triple up on Earths, but no, there's things here. Speed Mayumi is another cleaner. Speed Kangara is an option.
S Mayumi would go really hard on this team, actually.
There's a lot of solid he could have taken in the 14 costs instead of Momiji and Urumi, and I don't think removing those really
you're not losing
this
anything
draft at all.
Yeah.
So,
oh no, I lost power
Incinnarolls
spots on
this,
Urumi.
I would recommend dropping your shit Momiji and your shit Urumi and taking a really good 14 cost. You're not at your full 12, but you don't need your full 12 when you have a really good 14 cost.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Or, again, drop those two. You have 14 to work with. You can take around some solid stuff around other stuff. But, you know, I'd very much recommend just grabbing a 14 cost instead, because the rest of the draft, I think, is very solid.
Yeah. Even with the Momiji and Dirumi, I think this is a B-tier draft. Very solidly. It's the picks look so weird, but I think it works.
If it was me, I would drop the Momiji and the Urumi for a Defense Nemino, because that keeps the steal. He's not really got much of a steal presence, so the steal's nice to have. And Defense Nemino is actually very, very good.
That's fair. Yeah. Me personally, I'd probably go with the Mayumi, but that's because I'm insane and like fast things. Either
that's
pick's
also
good.
A steal. That is just a better steal cleaner than the Momiji will ever be.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Momiji is a little bit sad. Alright.
Can we cover the next one last, actually?
Yeah, sure, we can do that.
Over it for now.
Okay. Alright. We have the Goobos. Wait. Yeah, the Goobos.
Yes.
Ello.
It's an Ello draft.
It's an Ello draft.
Got a lot of Ello staples. He's got the Nue. I mean, I like Extra Mai. Extra Mai is pretty good. I think I'm not too set on his defensive profile around the extra Mai.
Yeah, he's pretty cripplingly weak to poison. He doesn't have a way to clear T-spikes, and his best defensive partner to that is Diose, which also gets nailed by poison. I guess he's got the Yomu,
He has the
but
Yomu.
I don't know,
Yomu
man.
is a fairly alright defensive piece, but yeah,
Fighting's
I would have
also
liked
bad.
to see something. Oh, fighting is kind of bad here.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see a defensive piece to kind of pair better with the Mai. I mean, I don't hate his offensive options though. Extra Megamoo is really solid at 11.
Extra Saki is a really good mon.
Extra Saki is just really good. Power Komachi kind of slow, but I do kind of like what it brings. I don't really see too much need for the Nitori, but
She
extra
does
Nitori
similar
isn't
things to
bad.
Saki, which it's not bad.
She
It's
does
not
similar
bad.
things to Saki, just physical, and she stacks nature, which he's already got 2 of.
Yeah.
I think Power Merlin's solid, and Extra Nue is a puppet that exists.
Yeah, she makes me sad.
I wish he was a little better for entirely not biased reasons.
No, he would never be biased for Nue.
But I don't think she's, bad here. I do like Wind Nether just as a typing. At least offensively, it's pretty good. But I would like to see a defensive piece that pairs with the Mai.
Yeah.
I think I'd put this at C. If he had a defensive piece to pair with the Mai, I'd put it at B. He's not got a lot of real firepower beyond the Saki, but it's not,
It's
super
not bad. Well, I mean,
firepower.
the Merlin it hits like a truck.
It hits like a truck. It's 4x weak to wind.
Yeah,
but he's
skull
got
emoji.
wind resist.
He's got that super cover. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
If I had to fix this, well, quote unquote fix. I mean, it would have to be some sort of defensive nether. No, I think that's the only way.
That's another.
I don't know what defensive nether would be going here, but
Yeah, it can't be that one because that one's not fighting resistant.
I mean, maybe like a Yuko or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say defense Yuko is available in this draft. Actually, could be extra Serial. What's his dark? I guess he's kind of struggling against dark. He doesn't really have too much of an answer to that.
Yeah.
I guess he has the Merlin, which
Skull emoji.
is bulky enough to switch in at least.
Yeah.
And is something that can fairly normally run Hairpin.
Yeah, if you're not running like Burning Stone or something,
Yeah,
which is it's just fine. I think.
A D Yuko or an extra Serial could push this one up to a B, but it's a C draft. I mean,
That's
Ello's
fair.
here to have fun, so I'm not too surprised that he's not min-maxing and he's just drafting things he's used before and likes that are fun.
Yeah. I would put it in B myself. I think that its offensive pieces are pretty potent. Although I might be biased a little bit because I've used Power Kamashi and I think she's very underrated. Imai could be a good offensive
she's
piece.
good.
Like there are things here that can definitely kill teams. But I see the
Yeah.
argument for C and I would not contest it.
Yeah. The thing with Ello is he's kind of in a similar vein of like your Kyusen and your Ruby, where he drafts a lot of the stuff he likes. He's just far less schizophrenic than Ruby and cringe than Kyusen.
True. Real and true.
All right, and now
The
second
Murder
to
of
last,
Crows.
the penultimate.
Coached by Delsune. This is
Now, okay,
Yeah?
I know Crows group are murders, but I want to say, why does he hate crows? Why is
I
he
don't know.
murdering crows?
Man, who knows? Crows are awesome.
All right, how good do you think this draft is at killing Megamu, Aya, and Hatate?
I mean, it's got DLE. She can overtake them, I guess.
I guess she can overtake them.
Other than that, I mean, Gengetsu can kill them. I'm totally not just listing my favorites, by the way.
You know what? His last 3 are capable of killing the birds, so
Yeah.
he at least fits the theme.
I will say, overall, this is actually a really solid draft.
Yeah, it's got some pretty good pieces.
Yeah.
D Dorami's solid. D Ron's a good defensive piece.
Yeah. An
He's
extra
got good
Kurumi works well with them
offense.
too.
I do
Oh,
like Speed Rika a lot. I think she's fairly slept on. She is 4x weak to Earth, but I mean, she has some nice tools. She has deploy smoke.
yeah. She provides a fire immunity, which is very appreciated by this team.
Yeah,
I,
fire
I, I
immunity or intimidate, both are nice.
yeah. I will say I don't like the defense Ben here. She is just strictly worse than D Dorami most of the time. I think that it was
I
a
was
mistake.
looking at that,
Yeah.
and it feels like he's really doubling up with the Didormi, and he could have something else at 11
Yeah.
points.
If I recall correctly, his pick before the Ben was Speedy Meko, which I think I would prefer a defensive piece here rather than another offensive piece, but I do think Speedy Mecha's not bad here. He can't get her back, obviously.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I guess I think I agree with you that a defensive piece over Speedy Mecha would be good. I just don't agree with defensive.
oh
Ben
yeah,
as
no.
that defensive
It
piece.
it should not be another nature. I would like to see like a defensive water.
Yeah, defensive water could be good. What does he have? At 10 points, he could have gotten a Siskutaka. That one's
Yeah, that's not bad.
not horrible.
Yeah. It's
Defense Marasa's in there. I was gonna say he could drop the Ichirin to get up to 14, but that's not really gonna get him a defensive water.
it's probably something he can get, but yeah. I actually don't even hate the Ichirin here. It does contribute to his offensive powers, which I think this draft cares about.
You know what? I actually think well, maybe not a full-on bulky water, but a defensive-ish water that he might appreciate here.
Yeah.
Power Toyohime. Because I think the wind actually helps him quite a bit. Because yes, he has the Dorami, and yes, he has the Kurumi, but that is a lot of Earth Weak.
That's true. Yeah.
That is the Rika, the Sagame, the Rin, the Gengetsu, the Ellie, and the Ichirin.
Yeah.
And yes, Ichirin can be immune, but
that's not a good
more
set.
often than
Let's be
not,
real.
It will be. I think it can be used in the right circumstances, but more often than not, you won't be using it. And I think a Power Toyohime, and he has an extra puppet slot too, so he could, if he switched out the Ben, he could take a 6-point and a 5-point, and there's probably still maybe a little bit of value that can be squeezed out of the 5-point.
Yeah. But overall, I think very, very solid. I would put this in A tier, honestly. I think I really like this draft.
Never mind, he'd have 4-point because Power Toyo is 7.
Yeah. Especially extra Kurumi. I think she is one of the most slept on puppets in the game. And yes, I am going on this rant again. She's really good. If you're watching this video, use extra Kurumi. I promise you'll be impressed. That is all.
And now, the last one.
The best one. This is my own draft around the enemy by yours truly. Obviously, I have my own thoughts on my draft, but I am biased, so I'll let you do the talking for now.
All right, we have 4 comments to start with. If you'd let me have my moment here.
Sure.
You have breathed your last. You die now. You deserve worse. And of course, for the glory of Hoshido.
Thank you, Ryoma.
This is in fact the offensive draft. You will rout the enemy. Pray you don't run into a defense stat.
True. Yeah.
Does Assist Tay get stealth trap? Because I know she gets Spine trap.
She does. Yeah.
You have your hyper offense lead, you have your Wobbuffet, and you have literally a billion things to kill, and then Kosuzu.
Yeah.
Who can kill, and you know what? You can throw her out defensively.
Yep. That was why I picked her.
This is the draft I have ever seen. I would shit myself if I had to face this in playoffs.
So
if this was the shit I had to prepare for in a rematch, I would hate draft. I already hated your original one, which was basically this, but less schizophrenic.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask about that because I basically created this to be a more optimized and more painful version of the original build. So my question is, do you think this is better or worse than the original build?
Oh god, I have to do I have a copy of the original Draft 4 doc that I can pull up your original one? I don't think I do.
Let me see if I can find it. I might have it offhand.
Yeah, because this was Draft 4. This wasn't Lotus Land League.
Yeah.
Because I remember the Chen, I remember the Chimata, and I remember the Shinki were in it, and the like I remember bits and pieces of it.
Master. Oh, here it is. Okay. Here you go.
Want to just like ping me that, and I can.
Paste, please.
Just like a screenshot
what the
of
hell?
it.
Oh, yeah. There.
Okay, there we go. Now we go take a look at what your original bullshit was. Oh god, this is what that draft looked like. Jamestown droppers. The false light. Okay, is this Tori or Shiki? I'm kind of split actually, because like you have the same overall core.
Yeah, the core was what had to stay the same in order for this to work.
But I almost feel like I fear the Kurumi Yuka Orange and Gengetsu, and I guess the Yumeko more than I fear the other pieces in this one.
Really?
I guess, okay, I see the extra Satori. That's definitely scarier. I don't fear the Rika as much. I don't fear... You kind of have to respect Miko, but at the same time, it is Power Miko. Kana is a complete and utter meme and will die if anything coughs on it. It is the coughing baby if the baby was also a hydrogen bomb.
Yep. But the Wriggle and Fudo are the big ones.
I guess, yeah, I do. The Wriggle is scary. I thought you had Wriggle before, but I guess
no,
you
I
didn't.
did not.
That must have been the previous, the Lotus Land League one then that you had it.
No, that was Gubu.
Oh, that was Gubu, right? I thought I faced you with Wriggle, but I guess I didn't.
Nah.
Yeah, it's one of the drafts of all time. You will rout the enemy.
So, the other big question is, does the fact that I've actually made it to playoffs make this good? That's like the real question. I wouldn't draft this if I thought this wasn't good, or at least I wouldn't run it back if I thought this didn't have potential. So me personally, I would put it in A tier, but I'm also biased. You are less biased than me, I think.
Okay, so let me look at the Makai conference here to remember the people. So we had Wower, we had Akistan, we had K5, we had KK, we had Baru in here, we had Damage in here. Wait, we had Damage in here?
Yeah, yeah, we did.
Oh, right, but we didn't fight everyone, so I didn't fight him.
Yeah, I was cursed to fight him.
Yeah, you know, you fought through Damage, I think you fought through K5.
Yeah. I had to fight...
Maroon was doing really good.
Yeah, I also had to fight, Kalt in semis.
Yeah, I'd say it's good. Like, you are a good player.
Thank you.
You fought through other really good players with this schizophrenic hyper offense bullshit, and you made the finals. So I think we could say it is at least good enough for someone like you to carry to finals, which is probably pretty good.
Thank you. You flatter me. I think... So talking from like a more objective angle, obviously the big thing is that you've got the Tay, which has rocks and bind trap, so she has to be respected, and then the speed tiers are obviously really insane. Like we've got Wriggle for 130, and she can also just randomly become +1. We've got the S Fudo for 135. Yeah. Shinki Satori for like a billion coverage and also fast. Like, and then
Ana's like 120.
Yeah. The slowest strictly offensive thing here is base 100. And then
there's the Rika.
Yeah, you've got Rika, Satori, and then the Kosuzu.
But the Rika, you're hitting Trickster or hoping you get a cheeky move off. Like,
yeah.
No, this is perfectly capable of doing good.
Yeah.
Because it's difficult to stop it, you really need a very bulky piece. Like, if you can stop it, it falls apart, but
Yeah.
it is hard to stop this much firepower.
Yeah.
Because of since other players are limited in what defensive pieces they can pick up to stop this, your firepower feels like it goes a lot farther.
Yeah.
Because something like this, if you were to craft a hyper offense like this to bring to a tourney, you are matchup fishing, because anybody with a very, high meta defensive core
We'll
could
destroy this.
probably
Yeah.
shut this down. But in a thing where you might only have 1 or 2 good defensive pieces, if you can just get rid of one of those, yeah, you can just break through things.
Yeah. The scariest part, I wouldn't know this because I've never had to play against this team. Thank the Lord, I would never want to play against this. The scariest part about playing against this is that one wrong move and it's just over. You lose your defensive piece and then you just get swept.
So, to put things into perspective, I fought the similar one in my last week of the regular season in Draft 4. I had to bring a max defense gold hairpin defense Nemuno. If I did not have that, or if that died early in the match, I was swept by Extra Chen. I had no recourse to beat Extra Chen if that thing was not there.
Yeah. It's scary shit.
It was the only thing I had to resist. Defense Nemuno is good. I had to use that thing as my answer to the dumbest shit. That was my best puppet against an offensive extra Remilia.
Jesus, that's dire.
I went into that Haruun match dreading. If he brought a offensive extra Remilia, I'm fairly certain I lost that match, because I did not think the Nemuno could actually deal with that too well. But I really did not have a sole answer to that puppet. And then, of course, he's like, oh, I'll make it defensive and make it my spinner and leave it in on a Thor's hammer.
Oh, that's an interesting play. Yeah. So, where... I don't think I forgot this. Which tier would you put this in?
Oh. I feel like I kind of gotta put it in A. Because while it's not a balanced roster, it does a specific thing that is really hard to stop, or fairly hard to stop, and it does it well. I guess, personally, I'd put it in B. I'd put your original one in A, because I feared some of the other pieces in that more than I fear some of the pieces in this one.
Fair enough, yeah. Fair enough.
I know Satori, I guess, brings a lot of coverage, but I feel like, I guess I haven't really looked at the defensive profiles, but I feel like she's a bit squishier than some of the other pieces you had there, like the Yuka and the orange.
Yeah, I definitely went more all in on this one.
And stuff like the Yuka and the orange, they only really hit a certain number of types, but they hit those types really hard.
Yeah.
Like a niche gigantic is going to hurt most everything it hits. And a 145 Pride freaking Arclight or whatever the hell Yuka gets is going to do damage.
Yep, that it will.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit of damage. Yeah, this
is... I'd probably put yours in B. I do like the extra Kosuzu, actually, because it can work with the Bind Trap hyper offense.
Yeah.
But it's also an extra wrinkle of, I could just throw out my known limits fake extra Cherno, and, well, I hope you have a way around it.
Yeah. Alright, so with that, we have covered every single draft. If I remember in editing, I will put up the images of our complete tier lists on the screen right now. If I didn't, it is what it is. I hope you remember. I hope you watched the entire video,
I will yell at you in the comments if you do not.
Thank you. I appreciate the engagement farming. And
Well,
yeah,
thank you for having me on. I always appreciate insulting people,
yeah, no problem. Do you have?
even though I did not do too much insulting.
Yeah, only insulting friends. Only insulting friends.
Yes,
Do you
only
have?
insulting friends.
Do you have any last words before we part?
Last word? You mean like the Toho spells?
like last word. Holy shit.
Holy, not really.
Damn, not even a shout out? Okay, I'm not shouting you out then.
You want me? You want to shout me out the channel I don't upload to at all? If you want to see sporadic Lethal Company clips when I remember to record them, check out my YouTube channel.
Okay, I'll put it in the description.
I got some old draft videos if you want to watch those.
Hell yeah. I have old draft
I don't even
videos
have the
too.
best
They're not
one.
complete.
I don't even have the best one though, because that was uploaded to Damage's channel, not mine.
Yeah, half my draft videos just don't exist because my computer was a piece of shit back then and didn't save my OBS files.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. My entire draft 4 is there. Except I think. No wait, I forgot. You know, I had to buy in draft 4. So yeah, I didn't even have a playoff match. So yeah, entire draft 4 is there. I have some commentary videos of that, and I actually have an old power rankings for that draft that I did with Kalt, where we were probably a bit more. I don't remember how much we split the roster from the coach, because I think if I factored in the person playing, my ratings would change quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. Same with myself. All right, so
Yeah.
that is it. I will see all of you when I upload my first draft match, whenever that'll be. And yeah, that is all.